Okay, Brian Scalabrine, former Celtic and now a Celtic.
Well, are you going to tell us? You can't tease us like that.
I'm not going to. I can't throw my sources under a bus.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, big things happen on this iPhone. This iPhone's an iPhone 12. It's double an iPhone 6.
I mean, because he does this, and then one day someone's just going to swipe that thing, and then, the damage is going to be
all your sources
not repairable.
Get this over to. I'll get this over to you. See, you just don't trust me.
Your screen is open.
Come on, let's hear your source.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right.
Okay. First of all, there's obviously a power struggle with the Lakers right now. You can see that, right? You go to an arena every night. You're hearing things. What did you make of last night? Now, to defend LeBron, he's brand new. What was Kobe's first year like in L.A.? What was Magic's? What was Kareem's? This was never going to be perfect, right?
Sure.
You kind of jammed him into a city. He didn't, he's been playing 8 straight finals. But it did feel weird last night, like no teammates, the crowd. It should have been bigger, right?
No question. Passing MJ should have been a big deal.
Unbelievable deal.
I just think when you saw LeBron get emotional, was it emotion out of regret for what he's going through right now and what being in L.A. and saying, did I make a mistake coming out here?
Do you think he thinks that?
I mean, just look at the moment. You pass MJ. Can you imagine if that moment was in Cleveland? Who cares? It would have been a 4th or 5th seed. He looks up at the scoreboard.
Oh, my God.
They're not going to be getting crushed by 20. Like, that's a totally different moment than being in L.A. People are, kind of iffy on you being there. You pass MJ. You're out of the playoffs. You're getting roasted by Denver. So I just think that moment for him, he probably had a sense of regret until he, jumped in his car at 75 degrees outside and he's heading to shoot another show or do another business venture in Hollywood. So I think at that moment, it was a little too emotional for him because I think he has a little bit of regret for going to L.A.
Well, let me throw this out. You believe who's going to be a Laker next season, and it should be noted, on the secondary market, the Enes Kanters, Carmelo Anthony's don't want to be here.
Sure.
Paul George said no. There's a lot. Kawhi reportedly not interested. So there's about 8 guys that are really good players, maybe 7 available. You think you know who the 2 are?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just guessing. It's not like I have sources like you with the phone. I just think in Philadelphia, you look at the Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris situation. Yeah. Are they going to come with a $190 million max contract for Jimmy Butler? I'm not sure. They might. It depends on how Philly plays out in the playoffs. But I kind of look at, if it's not Philly, it's probably the Lakers. I could see them saying, you know what, we don't have anybody else. We're going to miss out on KD, on Kemba Walker. And why don't we go after Jimmy Butler? And with the amount of money that they have left, I can see him going after DeMarcus Cousins as well.
Oh, boy.
So but look at that roster. LeBron, Butler, Cousins, and you still have Lonzo Ball, Kuzma, Ingram. You still have those guys.
So you wouldn't have to give up anything.
No, that's the beauty of free agency, right? You don't have to give up assets to get those guys. So instead of giving your whole team and 7 picks to try to get Anthony Davis, you can say, well, why don't we just sign these 2 guys, add them to LeBron?
If you're telling me right now, Jimmy Butler, LeBron, and Boogie Cousins, that's too much drama. This year's been too much
there's
drama.
Never too much drama in L.A.
I mean,
they have a high quota for drama in L.A.
By the way, Boogie Cousins, they acquired Andrew Bogut for a reason. They trust Bogut with 4 minutes to go in a game. They don't trust Boogie Cousins.
But he'll be better next year, and then he'll be better as the season goes along. That's kind of how the Achilles things work.
Speaking of drama, Mr. Celtic, your team's been a massive disappointment, and the very smart and accurate Charles Barkley went on, and he talked about Kyrie Irving the other day. And Kyrie Irving, here's Barkley on Kyrie, your guy, Scalabrine. What do you make of that?
Well, I think Charles is looking at the team and seeing how inconsistent the Celtics look, and at times Kyrie looks miserable out there when they lose. But I will say, from being on the inside and seeing these guys, it's some days, for instance, you lose to Houston, and I thought, oh my gosh, our season's going down the drain. And then they make this flight to Golden State, and everything has changed. Now, Kyrie's super engaging with the guys, and the plane is super loud, and at the hotels, guys are talking. There's music being played. It was like 180
So
degree
you were
turn.
there.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing to me how much difference it's been the last 2 days. Now, is it because there's less than 20 games to go? Are NBA players in general tired of the regular season? Which we're seeing that a lot more now.
Oh, yeah.
The Golden State Warriors the other night did not want to be out there playing. And they're the team that I think more than any team in the last 5 years, they're the team to me that seemed to enjoy playing more than anything.
Yeah.
They did not seem to enjoy playing the other night. I think everyone's just waiting for the playoffs to start. And whether it's Kyrie and the ups and downs of free agency and all that stuff and dealing with should I stay, should I go, going here, going there, when it's just about basketball for him and he has that pure mind and he wants to play, he's unbelievable. Go back. I don't even want you to watch the offensive end of the comeback from 3-1 against the Warriors. Just watch Kyrie on the defensive end during that. He was so engaged. It was unbelievable to watch that run from him, LeBron, all those guys, and just how cohesive they were. And I think at times when the stakes are high, he does seem to raise his level.
Yes.
But then you have those games like Houston, and you're wondering, like, do these guys even want to be out here? But from my experience of seeing this team, they're so inconsistent game to game, quarter to quarter. And now it looks like they've turned a corner. The last 2 games, they've looked really engaged and looked like all dialed in and locked in. But I will say the practice over the last 2 games before the Warriors, everyone talked about how we feel so much more connected. We had sort of a kumbaya moment and everything is going to be fine.
By the way, the face of the NBA. So how old are you?
40.
You're but a child. So I'm mid-50s.
Not sure about that.
I'm mid-50s. And so I've been watching the NBA since the 70s. And there's always been a face of the league. You have to be a great player.
Sure.
You have to have flair to either your game or your personality, and you got to win titles. Kareem was a great player, brittle personality. I say Kevin Durant, little bit of an odd, quirky personality. These are the faces, I believe, from the 60s on. Wilt, Dr. J, then it was Larry and Magic, Michael, Shaq, and Kobe, although Kobe was the more intense athlete, Shaq was the more engaging personality, then LeBron. And I ask you, the things that you know that you have to be a star, you've got to be great. We've got a bunch of those in the league.
Sure.
You got to have flair to your game. All these guys had flair. I mean, even Wilt. Wilt was the headband, the jams. And then you got to have a bunch of titles. Who's the face of the NBA?
It doesn't have to be Giannis.
Oh, but here's my takeaway. Didn't play high school here, didn't play college here. Was
That's
obscure
a good thing.
Well, he was obscure for 2 years. Didn't know who he was. It is Milwaukee. No playoff success. This is sort of dumb, but generally, Madonna, Cher, Hannity, Stern, Imus, one name helps. Bird, Magic, Kobe. Have you tried spelling Giannis' last name?
So
it's a little bit of a thing.
You're telling me that he should be the face of the franchise?
I don't think...
Based on how good he is, but because his name is Antetokounmpo?
No, I'm not saying that's like 2%.
Okay.
But I'm not saying it's not everything. Milwaukee, no playoff success. Didn't play high school.
That's just now. Like, LeBron is still going to control this narrative for the next 2 years. He's going to be the face of the NBA for 2 years.
2 more years.
Yeah, so... And then the torch will pass. So why not jump on Steph Curry? All-American family...
He's the second best player on his own team. How do you face the league?
Well, he might, but he won a championship without Durant.
Listen, I think you're right. That's how I feel, Steph.
Sure.
But it's really hard when you're perceived as you're not the finals MVP.
Sure.
Your teammate is.
Yeah.
And the NBA has been as strong as the face of the league is likable.
Yeah, so
Shaq and Kobe, LeBron, Michael, Bird, Dr. J, Wilt. There was a real relatability, a flair.
I got your answer.
Giannis should be.
He should be.
But I don't know.
The superstars today are weird, right? Durant is weird. Kyrie,
Westbrook.
Kawhi Leonard, Westbrook. They're all sort of like a little bit odd.
Yeah.
So if you, like, to me, Giannis is not odd. He's from
So
Greece.
You think he's the guy?
Well, I just think he's not a weird guy.
No. He's a great kid.
Yeah, and he's like, I feel like he's going to stay in Milwaukee. He's like, what we want our superstar to be. But maybe that's us because I'm 40, you're 50, and we want him to be all about basketball. Didn't grow up in the AAU culture. Has a totally different mindset.
Well, he came into this league. I didn't know who he was till year 3.
Sure. So...
I knew about Kobe in high school, LeBron in high school, Jordan in college, Shaq in college. Generally, I'm introduced to you before you even get... I think Zion Williamson could be it if he goes to the Knicks. If his game trend...
Then you got to win. That might not happen.
But it is interesting. I agree with you. I think next half decade, it's still mostly LeBron.
No, that's 5 years?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Colin.
Everybody's
2 years.
Everybody's pushing Brady out the door. You know who the face of the league is today?
Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, but he's still winning. Like, clearly you're watching the Lakers. Is this thing going to change? Well, if they get Jimmy Butler, Cousins, different conversation. Giannis should be.
Yes.
And because of that, I'm sticking with Giannis. I can't go on what people think about high school because they can't say his name. I can only go on, if I'm a father, I want to sit down and watch a game with my son. This is the guy I want you to be like.
No, I'm not denying any of that.
Yeah.
By the way, Shawshank Redemption's a great movie. It's a bad name for a movie. This is America. We like simple stuff. That's why I changed my name from the Colin Cowherd Show to Herd.
Sure.
Rome, Hannity, Imus, Pele, Cher. That's what I'm saying.
Joy.
Giannis.
Give Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Just go Giannis.
Freak or just say Giannis?
Giannis.
I just call him Giannis.
Yeah, I like Giannis.
Pretty much everyone calls him Giannis.
All right.
Giannis.
That's only
Greek
like
Freak
that's
was
only
a fun nickname, but it's
saying
really too long of a nickname.
I know it sounds dumb. That's only like 2% of the argument. No playoff success. Milwaukee.
Well, that's just now. They're going to be fine this year.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, he's not weird.
No,
he's just not weird. So because he's not weird, we can, like us middle-aged men, can rally around the guys who aren't weird.
No, I had him on the show. He's a great kid.
He's great. And he's all about winning. And the rumors about him leaving in free agency, he just seems to love Milwaukee. All he does is work out and stays in Milwaukee. He doesn't work out with Instagram and all this other stuff.
So that's your vote, Giannis.
He's great. That's a layup to me. He's got to be the face of the league.
All right. Because I don't feel it's Kevin Durant. I think he's too prickly. I think he's just a little too quirky. I don't think he's as embraceable.
He's weird.
Yeah, he's not.
All these guys are weird.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.